Hey y'all, I'm Chas, and I want to welcome you to Heritage Acres Homestead. Here you'll find our family as we strive to live a life that pleases the Lord. We do our very best to make the most out of what we've been given, and so we'd like to invite you to come along and join us on this journey. Good afternoon, y'all, and welcome back to Heritage Acres Homestead. I'm Chas. I'm in my garden this afternoon, and I'm making the intro for this morning's video out here. Now, as you're going to see, the video that I'm going to share with you was taken weeks, maybe even months back. It was before Easter. I had made a video because I was making banana pudding for the family, and I thought I'll just share with y'all how my nanny taught me how to make pudding. I didn't go into the process of making actual banana pudding. I just show you how to make a basic pudding. And that way, if you need it just for a snack, or if you want to put it with some fresh berries, or if you want to make a banana pudding of your own, you've got the base. And what it is, obviously it's just a thick custard. And it's so delicious, and it's so much better than a box. Let me just tell you, and it's so easy. So don't fret, it's not hard, it's delicious, and it's good. And you'll be able to make it with just a few ingredients. So thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. And I hope you enjoy how to make pudding. Hey y'all, welcome back to Heritage Acres Homestead. I am Chas, and today we're gonna make us some pudding. And it's not just any regular old pudding. We're going to make our pudding out of goose eggs. And we've had our geese for 5 or so years now, but they've never hatched us off any goslings. And I really, like, every year I'm hopeful, but it's just not happened. So, since they don't seem to hatch us any, we just gather the eggs and use them. And one great thing to make with goose eggs is pudding, or custard, or ice cream. But today we're going to make pudding because I'm supposed to make a banana pudding for church tomorrow, and I'm going to also make a hot banana pudding for our family dinner tomorrow afternoon. So we're having a fundraising dinner at church, and I'm going to bring banana pudding to share for that. And then after we eat, we're going to eat the meal, and then we're going to come home for our desserts because it's family dinner day. And I'm so excited because the whole family's going to be here. Elijah's in for college. Abram's supposed to be here. Cameo in Houston, and the boys are going to be here. Carly is here, and I just can't wait. So I won't be making the hot banana pudding until tomorrow, obviously, but we're going to go ahead and make that cold banana pudding today. So all that to say, I'm going to show you how I make pudding, and it is the way that my Nanny Black taught me. And except when she taught me, she just chucked everything in a blender, no measurements, and just said, this is how you make it. And bless her, she was just a little bitty thing, little and fiery. You didn't want to ask too many questions or she got frustrated with you. So I remember asking a lot of questions because I wanted to know how to do it. And she would just say, you just do it like this. That's how you do it. But I finally figured out the method to it and came up with some measurements for myself. So we're going to go on over here to the blender. I'm going to gather my ingredients, and I'm going to show you how to make pudding. Now, you can make this into any flavor you like with, if you're going to make chocolate, you would add some cocoa. If you were going to make pistachio, you would add some pistachio paste. If you were going to make strawberry, I guess some fresh strawberries or whatever you like, flavor-wise. But this is going to be vanilla because that is the base of our pudding mixtures. So let's let's gather everything and get started. All right, to begin with, you're gonna need your eggs. And I've got, try to make this a little more, I've got 3 of my goose eggs here. I went ahead and washed them. If you don't like, okay, so I don't wash my eggs before using them. I wash them when I use them if they need it. And that's because there is a protective coating on eggs. God designed this. This coating is to protect the eggs, and because there's tiny, hundreds and thousands of tiny little pores on each egg. When that coating is kept intact, the eggs stay fresher longer. When you wash them, that allows those pores to be opened, and when the pores are open, bacteria can settle in. So if you were to wash them and leave them on the counter, then obviously they're going to go bad faster. But if you do not wash the protective coating, or called the bloom, off, they last longer. So everybody has their own opinion on this. This is how I feel about it. I do not wash them until they need to be used, and I keep my eggs on the counter. If I know that they're getting older, then I will put them in the fridge, like if we just didn't use them fast enough, or I will crack them, put them in a Tupperware and put them in the freezer. Like we've talked about this before, where I put like a dozen in a container and put it in the freezer for later use. But most of the time you're gonna find my eggs straight on the counter after they've been laid, because I think that's the best way of keeping them. My opinion, everybody's got their own. That's mine. All right, so what we need is a blender. Like I said, this is how my nanny told me to do it. We have a blender, and I have a bowl, and I'm gonna crack my egg, and I'm going to save the yolk, and then I'm gonna let the whites fall into this bowl. I mean, look at that yolk. We want just the yolk here, but we don't want those whites to go to waste, because when my nanny made banana pudding, she used those whites and we would have meringue on top. So that yolk, we're gonna go ahead and drop it into our blender. All right, now that I've got this bowl here because you just never know with fresh eggs, you never know, so I always crack them separately. We're gonna crack into another container. And that way, goose eggs are a much harder shell, y'all. I'm trying to be gentle so I do not break the yolk. So let that white just fall off. Okay. Hey! right, sorry about that. I had a sweet friend stop by and get some eggs. So if you're going to use regular old eggs, not goose, then you're going to need about 5 or 6 eggs. Because goose eggs are so big, I use 3. And like I said, I only use the yolk in my blender first. Now we're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar. This is a 1/2 cup measuring scoop. And 3 vanilla. And you know me, I like vanilla a lot. So I'm going to tell you at least a couple of tablespoons, but you can do 1 if you like. Then we're going to add 1/4 cup of cornstarch or arrowroot powder. Now, if you get cornstarch, look for non-GMO if you can find it. Arrowroot will work too. Some people feel like it makes it a little gummier. So if you don't like that, you know, or think that that's a weird texture, just go for your cornstarch. Now, Nannie always told me to put it straight in here and mix it up with my egg and milk mixture. So that's what I do. Still listening to Nannie. All right, and then lastly, we're gonna add our milk. Now, this is how she told me. Once you got everything in there, you fill it up to max. And that's exactly what she told me. So right now, let's see, if I was looking, looks like we got a couple of cups in there of stuff. I think this may be a little bit bigger of a blender than what Nannie used to make. So I'm going to say we're going to add about 4 cups of milk and go from there. So let me grab the milk. All right, so now we have our milk, eggs, sugar, vanilla, cornstarch, or arrowroot, whichever you use, in our blender. I'm going to crank it up to a 10 and let's blend. Okay, now, one thing we always did too was we would taste it to make sure it was sweet enough. I could drink custard now. It's so velvety and rich. It's just delicious. Absolutely delicious. All right. And yes, I think it's plenty sweet enough. So if you taste it and you feel that it needs to be sweeter, go ahead and add you some more sugar. But I feel like that was the right amount. Let's go to the stove. All right. So I've got a saucepan, and I'm going to go ahead and pour this deliciousness into our pan, our sauce pot, making sure I get everything out. And turn that on a gentle heat. Because you've got milk and eggs and everything in there, you don't want to heat it too fast for it to scorch or scramble. So a slow heating, and then you know, you can warm it up a little faster once it begins to heat through. But do not fret, because if you think, oh my gracious, this is never gonna make pudding, it takes a little while. You will not start to see it thicken until it starts to boil. Okay, so I've got mine on, well, that right there is, if it was all the way at 9 o'clock, it'd be at medium heat, and I have it a little bit less. So I'm gonna get me a spoon, I'm gonna stir it up, I'm gonna clean up while it begins to slowly heat. So my baby just got here. Now, I'm not talking about my grandson baby, but my son baby. I don't get to see him near as much as I'd like. So I have walked away from this, but thankfully it didn't scorch. It is nice and thick, and it will thicken up more as it cools. So if you have any lumps in it, do not fret. You can run it through a strainer. And that's probably what I'm going to go ahead and do, so I'm going to grab that. All right, so I've got bowl, strainer, and I'm going to just pour this through the strainer. To filter out any lumps. Spatula. Yeah, I'm telling you, I love doing videos and to teach y'all, but if my babies show up, I'm gonna stop the video and love on them for a little bit. There we go. All right, this smells so good. And like I said, it's going to thicken up as it cools. So now I'm just gonna let it sit here on the counter and cool off till, I don't know, I'm gonna let this set on the counter since it's really hot still. I mean, you can see the steam rising from it, but I'm gonna let this cool, and then when it gets not so, you know, blazing hot, I'll stick it in the fridge. So thank y'all for watching this week's video. Like I said, it was made, you know, a few months back before Easter, and it was just something that I was making, and I thought, I'm gonna go ahead and film this. That way I can share this as a video soon too. And you know, the weeks have just gotten away from me. It's such a funny thing, this whole platform. You know, there's times where you just feel like maybe nobody's showing up, and I felt that way, and I still do sometimes. But at the same time, I know in my heart the reason I started doing this in the first place was because I do know how to do a few things, and I do enjoy sharing and teaching. And if nobody but my children learn something from me, then it's still going to be a beneficial thing. But I know there's more than just my kids, because I get messages all the time saying, you know, thank you for sharing that, or thank you for teaching me how to do that, or thank you for just saying that. And so I know that it's a worthwhile project to keep on with. So If you are still here and if you are still enjoying the videos, please leave a comment and let me know. It's such an encouragement to me to know that somebody else is enjoying it as well. So I just want to say again, thank y'all for being here. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.